Chapter 096 Forcible Seizure. A wild frenzy swept through every corner of the mountain and river courtyard. Every Yuhua Gate disciple was seized by a hysterical impulse, some churned with envy, some drowned in endless admiration, many gnawed at themselves with regret, and others spat out gritted curses while trembling in fear. The regretful ones were those who had thrown snide remarks at Fang Han before, the cursing and fearful ones were those who had held deep hatred against him. When Fang Han had defied Hua Tiandu, nearly 99% of all Yuhua Gate disciples had despised him from the bottom of their hearts and nurtured hatred toward him. Now all these disciples were seized by dread and regret. In the coming 10 years, Hua Tiandu would not bother to make a move against Fang Han, but Fang Han could absolutely retaliate against them. Once one stepped into the mystic ability realm, becoming a true disciple was a done deal, sealed and stoned. What a great fortune for our Yuhua Gate. We have another disciple who successfully advanced to the mystic ability realm. We must report this to the higher-ups, an elder on the spectator stand roared, unable to mask the excitement boiling in his chest. Report at once. This is a momentous event, another elder shouted, beside himself with joy. The gathering of all immortals is drawing near, and we Yuhua Gate have been striving to bolster our strength. Who would have thought we would get such a perfect opportunity delivered right to our door? This is wonderful. By rule, only the champion of this year's mountain and river list gets the Yinan longevity pill, and only after consuming it can one step into the mystic ability realm. Who could have expected Fang Han to break through on his own? What an incredible miracle. A miracle it is, indeed a miracle. We do not know what fortunate encounter he has had, but it is without a doubt a great blessing for Yuhua Gate. Jialan exhaled a long slow breath and settled back into her chair, a sweet smile blooming on her face. What do you say now, Ling Xiao? It looks like you won't be getting my galaxy bracelet after all. The Heavenly Wood Divine Needle is one of your most beloved treasures, but I'll just accept it with pleasure now. Not so fast. Ling Xiao's expression darkened, but a cold sneer played on his lips. Fang Han has only just stepped into the mystic ability realm. He can barely even wield his magical power properly. Yi Nantian carries 2 treasure artifacts. The 8 Desolate Divine Sword is devastatingly sharp, and you know full well how profound the mysteries of Luoxing Gate are. The outcome is still far from certain. Of course I know the mysteries of Luoxing Gate, but how much of its power do you think Yi Nantian can actually wield? Besides, Fang Han's magical power is so immensely vast, it holds at minimum the strength of 100 galloping horses. How can anyone believe this is the power of someone who just stepped into the mystic ability realm? Jialan lifted her chin, clicking her tongue in admiration. We shall just wait and see. Ling Xiao flexed his fingers, his gaze sharp as a blade stabbing straight at Fang Han on the arena, as if he could pierce through and uncover every secret hiding in Fang Han's body. How can this be? How can this be? That slave, he actually stepped into the mystic ability realm. No, this can't be right. The mystic ability realm is a step up to heaven, more noble than even an emperor. At this moment, no one was more hysterical than Fang Qingwei. She stood up, her whole body trembling. She could not tell if she was shaking from agitation, anger, or terror. She was completely in a state of madness. The disciples who had previously clustered around her like stars circling the moon unconsciously stepped back and put some distance between themselves and her. The stands below the arena were bursting with excitement, every heart thrumming with emotion. And on the arena, magical power roiled and surged like a raging fire, ready to ignite at the slightest touch. Even though Fang Han had advanced to the mystic ability realm, the duel had to continue. This was the 1,000-year-old rule of the mountain and river list, unbreakable. Yi Nanchan's face drained of color in an instant. He had never expected Fang Han to hide his strength so deeply, delivering such a crushing blow at this most critical moment. Though he had cultivated his physical body to the peak of the 10th stage of divine transformation, just a hair's breadth from the mystic ability realm, the closer he got, the clearer he understood how impossibly difficult that final step was, how unreachable it was for most. At the peak of the physical realm, one could at most muster strength equal to that of a Shura, enough to pull back 13 Xianhuang stallions, each able to run 3,000 li a day. Even the most gifted of cultivators could only pull back 15 at most. That was the absolute limit. But even the lowest tier of the mystic ability realm allowed a cultivator to grab through empty air with magical power and seize more than 80 raging Xianhuang stallions. Their strength had multiplied 6 or 7 times over. That was not all. Magical power was fundamentally different from physical strength. It could stretch and flow, change shape at will, seep into every crack, be unleashed freely, and resist fire, water, blades, and swords. It was 1,000 times more flexible than the stiff, limited strength of the flesh. This kind of transformation required enormous fortune and a tremendous supply of vital energy to achieve. Staring up at Fang Han, floating high above him, looking down with cold eyes, Yi Nantian felt like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. But then, a fierce rage burst forth in his chest, and swelling jealousy and defiance bloomed. Fang Han, don't think you can act arrogant just because you stepped into the mystic ability realm. I carry 2 treasure artifacts, and they are more than enough to defeat you. Today I will show you just how formidable Luo Xingate is. As he spoke, the large steel ball formed by the 8 desolate divine swords suddenly compressed inward again. Crunch! Crunch! It reshaped itself into a full set of armor, steel armor, the 8 desolate battle armor. It was similar in nature to the Sirius battle armor formed from Sirius smoke. But this 8 desolate battle armor was far sturdier and more ferocious than the Sirius battle armor. Sword auras surged and sliced constantly 3 feet around its wearer. Anyone who got too close would be torn to mincemeat in an instant. Whoosh! Yi Nantian burst forward with all his power, transforming into a streak of light that charged viciously at Fang Han. He looked like an iron troll, striking and slashing wildly, throwing every ounce of his strength into this one desperate blow. Weren't you going to give me 3 free strikes? Why have you changed your mind? Fang Han raised his palm, spread his 5 fingers, and grabbed straight at the empty air before him. Splash! Ripple! The surrounding air, driven by Fang Han's magical power, solidified into something as thick and viscous as glutinous gel, freezing Yi Nantian midair. Yi Nantian struggled and roared like a beetle trapped in a spider web, thrashing wildly with all his might. What enormous strength! If I had not consumed the Star Dough Law condensation pill, I would barely have managed to trap him. After wrapping Yi Nantian in the condensed air with his magical power, Fang Han could feel how mighty the 8 desolate divine sword was. It could easily flip 70 to 80 Xianhuang stallions in a single pull, matching the power of a bona fide mystic ability realm expert. But Fang Han, who excelled in the vastness of his magical power, did not flinch. The moment his power wrapped around his opponent, he focused his spirit and drove it fiercely into the radiant aura of the 8 desolate battle armored. He intended to use his magical power to seize the 8 desolate divine sword by force, to erase the bloodbound spirit Yi Nantian had imprinted into it. Magical tools refined by cultivators in the physical realm are bonded through blood sacrifice, making them extremely easy for others to seize. That was the very reason why even physical realm cultivators with treasure artifacts would avoid fighting a mystic ability realm expert at all costs. On that day earlier, Fang Xianxia had seized the 7 Calamity Gourd in a single move. And when the 7 Calamity Gourd was already in Fang Han's hand, Jin Shirtai had wrapped it in his green flame magical ability, and Fang Han had immediately lost consciousness of his connection to it. If Yin had not helped him in secret, the gourd would have been seized from him too. No! Yi Nantian suddenly felt a fog roll over his mind. Fang Han's magical power wrapped around him completely, seeping into the 8 desolate battle armor and shaking the bloodbound spirit imprinted inside the sword. Once his spirit was erased, the treasure artifact would change its master,